All right, so we have a very special guest here in the studio. Rosanne Cash is currently with myself and John Blair.
Yep.
Rosanne, how are you doing?
Hi, good. It's nice to visit you here at this very fancy radio station.
Thank you. We appreciate the title
Definitely.
of fancy.
Thank you.
And thank you again so much for, making the time to swing by WMCX. I know you have a show
Tonight.
at Pollock Theater.
Yep.
Starts around 8 o'clock, right?
Starts not around 8 o'clock. It starts at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock on the
Okay.
dot.
Yeah.
So get there beforehand.
Yeah.
Maybe around 7:30.
It's an acoustic show, duo show. John Leventhal, who is my life partner as well as musical partner. We do these duo shows a lot, and it's really fun, intimate, but still energetic. And we're previewing songs from my new record, which comes out in January.
Mm-hmm.
The album's called The River and the Thread, and they're all new songs we wrote about the South, and some old stuff too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
All right. I could definitely see where that's just an amazing experience, where you're working with another artist and you get to perform with them all the time. I'm guessing the two of you also tour together. It's just...
Yeah. We're together more than any other couple I know. I'm serious. We are 24/7. Fortunately, we get along most of the time.
That's good.
And, when you don't get along, you play music together and it kind of fixes everything.
Aww.
No, it does. Music's a great healing force, I think.
And I know you mentioned before that you're constantly on tour, and you're currently on tour right now. What's your favorite part about touring?
Well, I wouldn't say constantly. I would say it never really begins or ends, because we have a 14-year-old, and I don't like being away from him for very long. So we really ramp it up in the summer, and when he's not in school. And when he is in school, we do weekends, like a couple of weekends a month, 3 weekends a month. So it goes on like that all year. My favorite part is playing the music. That old saying among musicians that it's 22 hours of waiting around and 2 hours of playing music.
Yeah.
And that you get paid for the 22 hours, not the 2.
And you said this is going to be more of a softer, intimate acoustic show tonight.
Yeah, soft, but not too girly.
It's just enough for everybody there.
Yeah. John can play pretty aggressively for one big guy.
And any songs in particular that you're planning on showcasing?
Well, like I said, I have a new album coming out in January, 1/14/14, which I hope is numerologically significant in some way. And it's called The River and the Thread, and they're all songs about the South. So we're definitely doing, several of those songs tonight. Some of them we haven't really played more than once or twice, so that's always exciting, walking off the end of the limb.
And showcasing something new to your fans.
Yeah. And to ourselves, and kind of figuring it out. It's really fun.
And on the record, that's going to be released in January. Who did you work with on this one?
Well, John and I co-wrote the songs together, and he produced it. And he's a multi-instrumentalist, so he plays a lot of stuff. John Paul White from the Civil Wars sang on it. And Amy Helm, Levon Helm's daughter, and Derek Trucks. I don't know, these guys are older than you guys. But trust me, they're all pretty amazing.
Okay. I was actually, while I was doing research about you, I found out that you were also a story writer. What's really the difference between writing short stories and books as opposed to songs?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wrote a book of short stories, and I wrote a memoir as well called Composed. And I've always written prose as well as songs, so to me it's like they feed each other. Definitely different sets of rules and structure, but it's the same well of inspiration that you get for any creative act, whether you're painting or cooking or writing or sewing. So it's the same place you go for your discipline and inspiration, but the forms are quite different. And, songwriting depends on a rhyme scheme and a melody. It's interesting, though, when I'm writing prose, I found myself looking for the melody in prose.
The melody in prose.
Yeah.
So kind of like a beat, like...
Yeah, a rhythm, a real rhythm. And I find that the writers I love the most have a definite melody and rhythm in their cadence in a novel or, other kinds of prose.
Wow.
Yeah.
So kind of like iambic pentameter, Shakespeare, how he had...
Even more, well, true. I mean, I'm not Shakespeare,
okay,
but even more subtle than that, a kind of a poetic sensibility that just, you can feel the rhythm of the way they write. I really love that. I don't know if you know the writer Alice McDermott. I'm reading a novel by her right now, and she has this very precise rhythm, very different from other writers I've read. It's very interesting.
That's really amazing. I'm interested. I'm not much of a songwriter, but I always write short stories and everything else. Yeah.
Wow.
And it is kind of interesting when I always compare my work to someone else's, that there's a distinct kind of style that we each use without even looking at it.
Your voice. Yeah, you've got, your voice is your voice only. It's nobody else's.
And what initially sparked your interest to start writing books?
I just knew I was a writer from the age of 9 years old. I knew I was going to write something. And I loved music so much that it made sense to be a songwriter. And then I wanted to expand out of there and write prose. Writing prose, as you know, if you're a short story writer, John, is a lot of rope to hang yourself with. You have to be really careful, right?
You can believe that I'm in like a screenwriting class, and right now I'm looking down, I think, 20 more pages, so 30 to 40 pages, and I'm like...
And then editing, right?
Oh, no. I hate editing myself.
Yeah. I actually like editing. I had a friend, a songwriting mentor, he always said to me, write everything, edit later.
Okay.
Like, instead of stopping yourself from writing something, going, oh, that's not good, oh, that could be better, just put it down and then refine and edit later.
And
I
then
find
you
that
can
to
work
be,
off of that.
Yeah, I find that to be really good, because the thing you thought was bad could lead you to a whole other place that you didn't realize.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a great way to keep that creative flow going instead of, because I'm sure just as a musician and as a writer, you're probably very critical of your work, and that could just kind of, keep stopping you along the way, but that kind of just lets the creative flow just keep going. So
yeah, I teach a songwriting class. In fact, I'm guest teacher at NYU in the master's program this fall, and we talk about that very thing a lot, about how your internal critic can stop you right way too early before you get something down, right? You know what I'm talking about?
That's completely me. I'm looking at something, I'm like, I'm doing a great job, and then something happens, I'm just like, no, I'm doing terrible.
No, you got to keep plowing through that.
Now, are you working on another book?
No, although I just wrote a long piece for the Oxford American magazine, so I am writing a bit of prose right now.
Okay. All right, and just one last question before you go. You've had so much success throughout your lifetime, and you have a new album coming out in January. What are you hoping to achieve next?
I don't really think in those terms. I think, am I doing the best work I can do? It still feels new to me and as exciting as it did when I began, so I feel really lucky in that way. I don't feel bored or jaded with what I do. And that, to me, is the biggest success, that I love it so much and that I feel that I keep getting better. I mean, what more can you hope for, right?
True enough. Honestly, as after I graduate college, I'm hoping for that. That I wind up in a job that I love doing, even though the bumps and everything happens, that I just still come in and I'm looking forward to doing it.
That is the greatest fortune, to love what you do.
Well, thank you so much for your inspiration and your presence here on WMCX 80.9 FM. It is greatly appreciated. Now, I know you have to head over to Pollock Theater, where you will be performing at 8 o'clock on the dot. So everybody, make sure you get your butts there, because it is going to be an amazing show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So we're going to get back to the music. This is Oasis with Some Might Say. You're listening to WMCX 88.9.